This is Arts and Crafts with Luba Carlson, and today we'll be painting an acrylic piece inspired by this little painting I created years ago in my sketchbook. It was inspired by a picture I saw somewhere, I can't even remember where it was, and it was a forest full of aspens in a very sunny and bright lit area. It looked amazing, so I had to capture that. Our painting is going to look a little bit different because, you know, years have passed and we can do a little bit different rendition on that. But in general, this is what we're doing. For this painting, we will need paints, acrylic paints. I have white, chrome yellow, deep yellow, phthalo red, cobalt blue, green oxide, and black. Now, if you're looking at my color choices and at the painting, you probably wonder why I need phthalo red and blue and green. Well, we're going to use those colors to mix the colors that we need to use in the painting. Here are my brushes. I think I will end up using my 3/4 brush, the flat brush, and probably my two smaller brushes. I'd say this is probably a size 4 and that's a 2. I don't think I'm going to be using the big flat, so I'll just set it aside. And I don't think I'm going to be using round brushes at all. So let's just put them over here. I have my brushes. I have set up my paper towels, rinsing water, and I'm using a plastic paint palette today. I thought maybe we should try this for a change from paper plates to kind of reduce, you know, the amount of stuff we send to the landfill. And what's good about this is that when we're done painting, I don't need to rinse this. We do not want acrylic paint going down the drain. That's not very good. What you do really is just let it sit out and let all the acrylic paint in here dry, and then you can just pick on it and it'll peel just like a little layer of plastic. It'll just peel off and you can put it in trash. So let's begin with deciding where we want our trees to be. So I'm just using a regular pencil. You really don't need a tracer for this. It's very easy and everybody can do this. I'm just gonna put my canvas a little bit on the edge so that I can grab the edge right here. And I'm gonna decide first where my front trees are, my forefront, the trees that are right in front of me. So I'm gonna add, I think I'm gonna make one coming up here, and trees are never a straight line up, right? There's always some sort of variations in the line, and I'm gonna make this tree quite big, so I'm just gonna let it grow this way, and then I'm gonna make a tree that is a little bit at an angle. So we're gonna go a little bit to the side, maybe make it a little bit narrower, thinner. Just make sure that your top part over here of the tree is thinner than your bottom. It makes sense, right? Because roots are, the area with roots, the trunks are much wider. Okay, let's add maybe one more tree, and this one is gonna go across from the second tree, but what I want to do is I wanna make sure that the third tree is behind this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start down here, and I'm gonna go up, and then where I meet this tree, I'm just gonna hop over, and then keep going up, and maybe make it skinnier. So we'll just let it go this way. Well, okay, that looks good. Maybe a couple more. So I'm gonna do one more from here, send it behind the third tree so I keep jumping over things. And you can always change it. If you don't really like it, once you're starting to paint, you can always change it. It doesn't have to be that way. Now let's put something else here because it's super empty. So let's do one tree that goes maybe to the left, and I'm gonna make it look like it's starting behind the first tree. So my first line will go up this way, and my second line will start right behind it. And I will just send it up here. And let's see what else. I would like something here, but I don't want the whole tree up here. So maybe we'll just do the side. Just one side, like it's overflowing, right, out of the canvas. So I'm gonna do this kind of similar thing here, but not the same angle. So they're not asking for symmetry, okay? So I'm just gonna start maybe right here and send it up higher. Okay, this is pretty much everything we need for our sketch. Now let's grab the colors. Let's grab our paint, and if you're using acrylic paint and it's been sitting somewhere for more than 24 hours, make sure to shake it before you use it. So I'm gonna put some white on here. I'm gonna need quite a bit of white for this. And I'm working on an 11 by 14 canvas. That usually takes me about an hour to paint. You can take much longer or not as much time, and that's fine. You can also use any other size canvas for this. Just sketch your trees on and get to work. So this was chrome yellow. Now we're going for, forgot to shake, don't forget to shake, our deep yellow so that we have a contrast in yellow. Okay, and with these, phthalo red, cobalt blue, green oxide, I'm gonna wait, okay? We're gonna work on the background first. So for my background, I'm gonna use my 3/4 inch flat brush. Simply put it in your water, and I'm gonna bring this up just for a second. When you're cleaning your brush from acrylic paint, what you need to do, you need to go all the way down to your jar, your rinsing jar, and kind of gently bounce it to the bottom and then squeeze it on the side. Okay, and if you do not want to water down your paint, you can take this water to your paper towel. Okay, this way you get the best pigment colors. Okay, so let's begin. Little bit of water on the brush, squeeze it out a little bit, and I'm gonna start with white on my brush, and at the same time with a little bit of chrome yellow. So these are the two colors that I'm gonna start, and I'm just gonna start putting them on. My yellow is very transparent. Pretty much every yellow you get, yellow will be transparent. So we still should be able to see our sketch. If you cannot see your sketch, that means that you're using a whole lot of white. So try to maybe use a little bit less of white. Now I'm gonna dip again, get some more chrome yellow, and just randomly, I'm really random at how I'm spreading this out. A little bit more paint. It really doesn't matter. What we're making right now, we're making a background that will look like a forest full of golden leaves. Forest full of gold. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? So just keep going. And this is the time when you need to decide if you want your color, the yellow color from the leaves, overlap to the sides of your canvas, or if you're going to paint the whole painting and then use that trick I told you about last time, where you have a sponge and you put it in black paint and you just go around and you create a nice crisp black border, or maybe some other color border, your choice. Maybe you'd like to match it to the color of your wall where the painting is gonna be. It's absolutely your choice. So notice how I am not really blending the colors too much. I'm allowing some differences. Some spots are more yellow and other spots are a little bit less yellow. This is exactly what we want. We want to have some differentiation and shadows that are kind of in there. All of that goodness. All right, when I have my canvas covered with this, now is the time to grab some deep yellow on your brush and just add it to some spots. Not a lot, or maybe a lot if you like that kind of color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of blending it in a little bit, just so that it looks a little bit different in some spots. Yeah, we don't need to cover the whole canvas with this. We just want to add a suggestion of a warmer color, because as we know, fall leaves are really not that often. It's really not that often when they're chrome yellow, right? When they're like cold yellow. There is a lot more warm yellow and orange present in that. And I would like to have a little bit more of this warm yellow right on the bottom. So I'm just gonna hold this up away from the easel a little bit and just spread all of this paint. Now at this point, what I like to do is I like to look through my whole painting very closely and make sure I do not have any canvas shining through. And my canvas is wet with paint right now. I have a little bit of paint on my brush, so whatever I have here, I'm just using it to go back and fill it in. Just make sure that there is nothing showing, no bare canvas or naked canvas. Let's do that. Okay, brush in the water. Now I'm picking it up and I'm just checking for areas that don't have the color on them. They will be matte. Everything else will be glistening because the paint is wet, but the areas that don't have the paint will be matte. Okay, I think I'm good with this. All right, so very good. Now let's clean this brush. Make sure you tapping it to the bottom of the jar gently. Clean on the sides, just kind of tip it, push it to the, don't tip anything. We don't want to flood. Tip it to the sides of the jar and wipe it on a paper towel. If it comes out clean, then your brush is clean and ready to go for your next step. Our next step, though, is creating some brown. And to make brown, the best way to make brown is to mix some green and orange. And of course, you can also add some other things to it to change the shade of your brown, but this is my favorite way. And so what I'm doing here, I'm putting a little blob, really small. It's like a size of a pea. A blueberry would be too much. And I already have some warm yellow, so I am just going to put a dot of red, because to make orange, we need yellow and red. Oh, and I have yellow, yes, never mind. Okay, so for this next step, we're gonna use the tiny flat brush, just make it wet. Wipe this off. Now I'm gonna grab some of the, I keep calling it warm yellow, it's deep yellow. Just grab some and put it in this mixture and mix it very, very well. Okay, so what I'm seeing is a whole lot of green, right? It doesn't really look brown yet. So I'm gonna add a little bit more red. It's all about adding and testing things and trying how they work. Clean brush, grab some more of this yellow, maybe double. Let's see, will it drop? Yep, and again, Let's mix. Is this happening? It is happening. See, it's becoming more brown. So it got more to like olive green, dark olive green. Okay, so we're on the right track. So let's do this again, clean. Don't be afraid to experiment with your colors. What's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing probably would be that we have to try again, right? Not a big deal. Okay, some more yellow. And we got brown. Look at that. If you want to make a deeper brown, you will continue adding some more red to it, and your red will make a deeper brown. But this is pretty much what we need. Okay, I'm going to make a little swatch over here on my paper towel. Maybe this will make it easier for you to see what kind of brown I made. Like this. Okay, so the first thing after we have the background, we're going to add little branches and tiny little trees that are behind our beautiful aspen trees. So what I'm doing, I'm just grabbing some paint on my brush and randomly I'm gonna start adding branches that are hiding somewhere. And even if we overlap our trees, it's okay, because we're gonna paint that. All right, so starting somewhere in the bottom, just bring it up and let it get wispy, like there is not much going on. And if you can, hop over your trees, just like we did with the sketch, yeah? Grab some more paint, maybe add a little bit over here, and then move. Maybe there is a little tree growing somewhere here. Or maybe it's going like this and it has like a wider branch. Maybe there's something coming up here. And you know how sometimes there's like little trees starting from nowhere and then they kind of grow in a bush? We can do that. We can say that maybe there is a tree growing on the left, right behind maybe this one over here on the left. So it'll have a branch maybe showing up from here, and it's a bigger branch. So see how I'm hopping over my trees, and then I'm going back where there is hills and valleys, like a curve. And here it's going down, and so I'm gonna add another branch going down. Here it's going up. I'm gonna give it another branch going up, maybe one more. Maybe one more right here. Here maybe. Okay, there is one dropping down this way, so I'm just gonna add a branch and maybe another. I like this. I would like to add something over here to this side. Again, don't overthink it, just create something. And we're painting on kind of wet paint, on top of wet paint, okay? So your brown is gonna be mixing with your yellows a little bit, and that's okay, because they are gonna be like they're in fog. We're gonna put some more yellow on top of this, so they are not gonna be as prominent as they are right now. Okay, let's do one more, maybe coming from here. And I really want one more branch over here. Let's send it going down. That's kind of direction that we haven't had yet here. So let's just, and then maybe there. Okay, so kind of sit back, look at what you have and decide if you like it. I completely forgot that this corner over here is empty, so it's gonna get some sort of a growth. Doesn't need a lot, you know, just a hint. Okay, clean the brush. And for our next step, we're going to use, I think this is size 4, maybe 6. I'm not sure. But you can see that this is kind of roughly the size of my finger. So if that helps, right? Okay, so this is the brush that we're going to use, and we're going to paint our trunks, not trucks, trunks, as our next step. And for that, we're going to need a little bit of purple. And so for purple, we'll grab some phthalo red, and we'll add some cobalt blue. Let's do a little bit and see what happens. Let's mix. Okay, that's a little bit too red. Let's put a little bit more blue in this. I think that should do it. Oh, nice, very nice. This is exactly what we want. But we're not going to use this whole deep, dark purple. What we're going to do is we're going to create a tint, which means that we'll add a whole lot of white to it. And this is how we're going to do this so that we don't mess up our white. I'm going to grab some white from here, put it into one of the mixing wells. It has a tiny streak of yellow in here. It doesn't matter. It's not going to matter. Clean the brush just to keep our paints clean. Okay, and I'm going to grab just a little bit of this purple and mix it in here. We're looking for very, very, very light kind of lavender, grayish tone, well, more like lavender. Okay, so this is still a little bit too dark. If I put it here, I think it's a little bit too dark. And I'm running out of white, so I'm just going to grab some out of the bottle and just put it in here. Okay, let's mix again. Oh, this is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, let me put a swatch up to here so that you can see the difference. See, it's very, very light. Okay, so we're going to start painting the trunks. We're going to start with the one on the left and just keep moving, okay? So here we go. Here's my white, the one on the left. I can't speak. And we're going to start on the bottom and just follow that trunk flat brush. Whoops. And then as we're going and get into the area where it narrows down, I just turn my brush to make sure it fits into my sketch line, what I wanted it to be. Okay, and then I come back, set it down a little bit, come back again. I'm using my brush very gently. I'm very gentle on the touch, okay? And then let's finish this tree right here. Just making sure my sketch lines are covered. I don't want them to show. There we are. And just continue, yeah? Maybe it would make sense to paint the trees that are behind other trees first. It will make it a little bit easier. But this one is not behind anything, and there is no trees behind it hiding like across it. So we can just paint it. Let's see. And of course, I absolutely forgot to mention that this is part 1 of this lesson. And so when we're done with part one, we'll take a little break and then we'll return and we'll finish this whole painting. So all you need is just make sure that you're moving in the same direction. Up and down, making vertical strokes. You never want to hold your brush like this and go up, up, up with it. This will ruin your brush. The brush always goes with the flow. Think about your brush as maybe a little kitten. You'll never grab a kitten and start rubbing it across the fur, right? The kitten will not enjoy it at all. All right, so now this tree is behind that tree, so that kind of makes it, that kind of helps to know. Let's finish this tree here and we'll take a little break. See how I mark? I mark the spot where the trees cross and then go down the trunk. Just follow that trunk. We might need to come back and apply another coat to trunks, but we'll need to first wait and see how they dry and how well we managed to cover them. Okay, so again from here down, 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 and then here the trees kind of meet right here. So I'm gonna put my brush here and see I kind of hold it at an angle so that it doesn't go too wide and I get right in between my sketch lines. So at an angle, and I'm resting my hand on my pinky so I have some support. And then very slowly you just grow that branch up. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be done. There we go. All right, so it's time for our break, and I'll just see you in part 2.